Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave a comment down below with what your baseball picks are for Tuesday's games. Now, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at Pickdawgz.com. I'm running a daily $15 MLB best bet, so check it out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Tuesday, May 17th. For our first matchup of the day, we see the Chicago White Sox taking on the Kansas City Royals. This will be a doubleheader with Game 1 starting about 2:10 Eastern Time, and then Game 2 following that. In Game 1, we should see Dylan Cease and Jonathan Heasley as the projected starters. Dylan Cease, 13.74 Ks per nine. His strikeout numbers are through the roof this year. He's limited home runs. The walks have been not too bad. 3.55 walks per nine is the lowest in his career thus far. Still a little bit high for a starting pitcher, but a 3.55 ERA, an even lower 2.01 expected ERA, and 2.34 FIP. He's in great form. He pitched well against this Royals lineup earlier in the year. I think he pitches well here, and he's gone up against Heasley, who hasn't had a lot of work, only 3 1/3 innings, but he really struggled in those innings in terms of xFIP, 7.33. His FIP is 6.1, so that 2.7 ERA I don't think is going to last for much longer. I think the White Sox get to him in Game 1, so I'm going to take Chicago on the money line in Game 1. And then in Game 2, and we know we've mentioned it's really tough to sweep teams in doubleheaders. The White Sox aren't really a great road team to begin with. I do think with Game 2 being more of a bullpen game, the Royals do have a little bit of an advantage there. Their bullpen ERA hasn't been great this season, but according to Fangraphs.com, their bullpen's still 13th ranked in terms of projected WAR. It's a very solid bullpen on paper. They performed really well last year, one of the better bullpens in the American League, so I'm not worried about it. And I think the Royals, if they're going to win a game in this doubleheader, it'll be Game 2, and you're probably going to get a really good price with KC in that one as well. So I'll take the Chicago White Sox in Game 1, the Royals in Game 2, but not crazy about this doubleheader. Next up, we have another doubleheader between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, in this doubleheader, I do think if the Diamondbacks were going to win a game on Tuesday, it'd have to come in Game 1, as they're going to have Merrill Kelly going as the projected starter in Game 1. He's been their best pitcher, or you could say their second best pitcher in their rotation. It's kind of hard to take away for anything from Zach Gallen this year, but Kelly, a 1.71 ERA, 38 Ks in 42 innings, not too bad. The whip at 1.12. He's coming off a bit of a rough start against the Marlins. He gave up 3 earned runs and a home run in 5 innings of work. Diamondbacks did lose that game, but Kelly didn't earn the loss on that one. Kelly, for the most part, has put the Diamondbacks in good positions to win ball games. The Diamondbacks have won 3 of his last 5 starts, and they've covered the run line in all 3 of those games. I'm going to take the Diamondbacks on the run line here, getting the 1.5 runs on the road. In Game 2, though, I do think the Dodgers prevail. Tyler Anderson coming off a pretty weak start against the Phillies, but this season he has pitched well. He's 3-0 this year. I don't let that last start fool me. Diamondbacks lineup has struggled quite a bit against lefties this season, ranked 25th in baseball in team OPS against lefties. So I do like the Dodgers at home in Game 2. So give me the Diamondbacks on the run line in Game 1 and the Dodgers on the run line in Game 2. Next up, we see the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Cleveland Guardians. We're going to see Connor Overton and Zach Plesac as the projected starters for this matchup. Now, I do think Connor Overton's 1.59 ERA is very, very deceiving this season. He's only had 17 innings of work this year, and like I mentioned, that ERA very, very low. It's sub 2 right now, but a 4.95 expected ERA, a 4.42 xFIP. The biggest reason for that, he doesn't strike out virtually any batters. 4.24 Ks per nine, very, very low strikeout totals. The lowest really in his career. I mean, throughout the minor leagues, you could see his Ks per nine around 8, 7, maybe 10 in AAA back in 2018. But for him to only have 4.24 Ks per nine, very concerning. The walks are also a little bit of an issue, 3.18 walks per nine. I don't think that 1.59 ERA is going to last much longer. And he's facing a Guardians lineup that's number 1 in baseball in team OPS against righties this season. I think they go to war offensively here. But on the other side, I really can't trust Zach Plesac either. 5.51 Ks per nine. He's got a 4.68 ERA, but a 5.77 expected ERA and a 4.76 expected FIP. I think the Reds get to him as well, so I just think this total is set too low. Give me the over in the Reds Guardians. Next up, we see the Detroit Tigers taking on the Tampa Bay Rays at Tropicana Field. Bo Brisky and Shane McClanahan on the mound for this one. Now, I think this is a pitching matchup that could be as lopsided as anything you see this season. Shane McClanahan, to me, is an American League Cy Young candidate this season. 2-2 record, but you throw that win-loss record away. 2.52 ERA, 58 strikeouts in 39 and a third innings. That's tied for the league leader in strikeouts this season. A .92 whip is top 10 in baseball, coming off a fantastic outing against the Angels. 7 innings of shutout baseball with 11 strikeouts and only 1 walk allowed. He's going up against Bo Britsky, who sure has a 3.86 ERA, which is not too bad for a rookie in his first season, but that ERA is not going to last long, in my opinion. He doesn't strike out a lot of batters. He gets into issues with the walks. He's given up at least 2 walks in all 4 of his first 4 starts, and he has big problems with the long ball. He's given up at least 1 home run in 3 of his first 4 starts, and 5 home runs total in his first 21 innings this season. I think the Rays bats get to him. I think McClanahan continues to do what he does. Tigers offense has struggled this year against lefties. Give me the Rays in what could be a blowout. I'll lay the 1.5 runs with Tampa Bay. Next up, we see the Washington Nationals taking on the Miami Marlins. Yohan Adon and Cody Poteet are your projected starters here. Now, I don't love this game because I don't think we're going to get a great price with either side. I'm going to lean towards the Marlins on the run line just to try to get a better number here. Adon is just, I can't back him in this spot. A 7.03 ERA, and it makes sense why his ERA is so high. He has so many issues with control this year. I mean, he walks a ton of batters. He's given up 10 walks in his last 8 2/3 innings. That's just not going to get it done, especially against a Marlins offense that gets on base a ton. They're right now top 10 in baseball in team OPS against righties this season, and they are top 6 in baseball in on-base percentage against righties. So when you're drawing those walks, you're getting on base. It's really dangerous. Adon's given up at least 3 earned runs in his last 4 starts. He's not really able to pitch too deep into ball games either, and the Washington bullpen has not been trustworthy. Cody Poteet shouldn't be expected to go too deep into this game, but he's really pitched well this year with a .55 ERA. I think he gets the job done for Miami. I like the bats to back him up. I'll take the Marlins on the run line. In our next game, we see the San Diego Padres taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Now we're going to see Mike Clevenger on the mound for the Padres, and I am a bit concerned with the current form he's in right now, giving up a lot of base runners. We saw in his first 9 innings of work this season, 5 walks allowed and 10 base hits, so a 1.67 whip this year. It's concerning going up against the Phillies lineup that's red hot. Top 10 in baseball in both team OPS against righties and isolated power against righties. They scored at least 8 runs in the first 3 games of that series in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. They won all 3 of those games. And then they had a real good shot of winning the 4th game and sweeping the Dodgers in that 4-game set. But Los Angeles was able to mount a comeback in that one and win that game to salvage the final game of that series. But the Phillies playing one of the best, they're probably one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. They also won that series in Seattle to make it 2 straight winning series, and I think they get another win in this spot, at least in Game 1 against Clevenger. So give me the Phillies on the money line in Game 1. In our next game, we see the New York Yankees taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Jameis and Talion and Spencer Watkins are your starters here. This game's simple, again, for me with the Yankees on the run line here. I just have to take it against Watkins, who is not pitching well this year. 26 innings of work. He's got a 5.19 ERA, and that ERA is honestly has a good chance of getting even higher. 6.74 expected ERA, 5.72 FIP. He's not striking out batters. He's allowing too many walks. The home runs have also been a little bit of an issue. And the Yankees lineup, one of the best in baseball right now. They're top 10 in baseball in isolated power against righties, top 6 in baseball in team OPS against righties. And I think they do a good number on Watkins in this one. Jameis and Talion, at times he has struggled, but a 2.93 ERA this season. He's done exactly what the Yankees have wanted him to do. He's pitched against the Orioles twice already this year, and the Yankees won both of those games that he pitched in, both covering the run line. 1 game on the road, 1 game at home. Give me the Yankees on the road here on the run line. Next game, we see the Atlanta Braves taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, we don't have a ton of information for this game, but Adrian Hauser should be the projected starter for the Brewers in this one. And I'm just going to take a small lean on the other side in Atlanta on the moneyline. Hauser just hasn't been too sharp for me. Last time I gave up 4 walks, 6 hits, 7 total runs, 3 earned runs against the Reds of all teams. And we've seen him have troubles with the walks in his recent seasons and this year as well, where he's given up 15 walks in 30 innings. So a walk about every other inning, not where you'd like to see. Strikeout numbers are down for him this year. Hasn't had too many issues with the long ball, but the Braves lineup to me is just waiting for a breakout performance, and this could be that one. And I think in this series, this is their best chance to win a ball game. So Give me the Braves on the money line in a very, very slight lean. Our next game, we see the Houston Astros taking on the Boston Red Sox. Jose Urquidy and Nathan Eovaldi are your starters. Now, in this game, as much as I'd like to take the Red Sox, getting a really good price with who I think is the better starter in Nathan Eovaldi, I really can't take a side in this game. I like the over. You look at the Red Sox bullpen, and it's struggled all season long, and the biggest issue that Nathan Eovaldi has had this year has been the home run ball, giving up 2.03 home runs per 9 this season. He's given up at least 1 home run in 4 of his last 5 starts on the mound, a 4.26 expected ERA, 4.53 FIP this season. The Astros lineup is very, very powerful. I think they do a good number on Eovaldi. Right now, the Astros are 3rd in baseball in isolated power against righties. But on the other side, I think the Red Sox can score a few on Urquidy as well. Urquidy is a 5.97 Ks per 9, not where I'd like it to be at. His strikeout numbers are way down from last season. His expected ERA is 6.29 with an actual ERA of 4.4, so it tells you there's some room for regression for him as well. The total is set super high for this game for a reason. It's at Fenway Park. Give me the over in the Astros Red Sox. Next up, we see the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the New York Mets. This will be a doubleheader on Tuesday, as Game 1 of the series was postponed due to weather on Monday night. Now, this game, this doubleheader is going to be a little bit tricky, as it was a last-minute scratch on Monday's game. We don't have the most up-to-date information doing the video the night before, so you're just going to have to keep checking your websites, seeing who is going to be on the mound for this one. Now, we can expect guys like Trevor Williams and Miles Mikolas to pitch at least one game in this series, or in this doubleheader, and we could expect also Steven Matz and Taijuan Walker, who are projected to start on Tuesday. Wouldn't surprise me to see them go in Game 1 or 2 of this doubleheader also. We're going to just pretend like we know that Mikolas and Williams are going to go in Game 1. I'm going to stick to the pick I had in that one. I'm going to take the Cardinals on the money line. But in Game 2, if we do see Matz and Walker, I also think the Cardinals have a good shot at winning that ball game as well. The Cardinals, I think, are playing better ball right now. We saw the Mets lose that home series with the Mariners. Overall this season, the Mets have actually been a lot better on the road than they have been at home this year, with only a 10-8 record, or 10-7 record at Citi Field this season. This is probably the toughest games on the board to handicap. Is just not a lot of information out there. So I'll take the Cardinals in both games as a lean for now, but certainly not something I'm touching. Next up, we have this Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Chicago Cubs. Now, I do think JT Brubaker is better than his 5.34 ERA may suggest. He has a 3.96 expected ERA. His strikeout numbers are up from last season. He's limited more home runs than he did last season as well. 4.32 FIP is not too shabby for a guy like Brubaker. He's coming off a start where he pitched well against the Reds. He gave up 2 earned runs in 5 innings. That's a solid outing for a guy like Brubaker. It's just his offense really didn't back him up in that game at all. They didn't score a single run. So I don't think Brubaker is a bad option here for Pittsburgh. And I think we're getting a good price with Pittsburgh in this spot. Give me the Pirates on the money line. Not my favorite game on the board, but I do think they are the better play. Next up, we see the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Texas Rangers. Now, in this one, it may ruffle some feathers, and I understand if you don't want to ride with me in this one, but I do think there is some value on the underdog. It's not easy going up against the Angels. It's not easy fading a pitcher that is coming off a no-hitter, but Reed Detmers, I tip my cap to him. It takes a lot to throw a no-hitter no matter what you do to get there, but he did only have 2 strikeouts in 9 innings of work. That is concerning. I don't think it's very, very sustainable to have that much success without any strikeouts virtually at all. His strikeout numbers are way down this year from last season. Is why, his ERA is still pretty high for a guy that threw 9 innings of shutout ball. It's still 3.77 ERA. It's a 4.36 xFIP this year. And the Rangers, they started red hot this year against lefties offensively. They've cooled off quite a bit, but I do think they get the Detmers in this spot. On the other side, Taylor Hearn, he's got good stuff. He just really needs to refine it. I think he's a much better pitcher than that 5.26 ERA suggests. Double-digit Ks per 9 this year at 3.76 xFIP. The Angels' offense has been fantastic against righties. Top 1, number 1, number 2 against righties this year in baseball. But against lefties, not so much. They're still very strong, but not nearly as dangerous. I think Hearn pitches well. I think his bats back him up. I'm going to take a shot with the Rangers. Again, not a public play, not a popular play, but I do think they have a good value on them in this spot. Next up, we see the San Francisco Giants taking on the Colorado Rockies, and we're going to see the same exact pitching matchup we saw from these two teams last week with Alex Cobb and Chad Cole. and I'm going to stick to the same thing I took in that first game. I'm going to take the Giants here. We don't have to take them on the run line because the price is not bad on the money line on the road. I'll take San Francisco on the road here. You know, Alex Cobb, I think, is the much better option on the mound here. 28 strikeouts, 20 in the third innings. He pitched really well against this Rockies lineup at Oracle Park. He misses a lot of bats, which is important when you're pitching at Coors Field. Chad Cole, not so much. He doesn't miss a lot of bats. I know he struck out a good amount of batters last time out, but he still only got 30 Ks and 34 in the third innings this season. He gave up 5 earned runs and a home run to this Giants lineup last time out in the loss, 7-1 loss. And I think the Giants bats who love right-handed pitching this season, I think they get to Cole and a very, very weak Rockies bullpen. We saw in that series against the Royals, the Rockies bullpen was tested, gave up a good amount of runs. They blew that final game against the Royals in the weekend series. And I think the Giants get to Cole and the Rockies pen in this one. Give me the Giants on the money line. Next up, we see the Seattle Mariners taking on the Toronto Blue Jays with Logan Gilbert and Jose Barrios on the mound for this contest. Now, I've mentioned at times that I do think Logan Gilbert's numbers are a little bit deceiving. I don't think he'll hold that 2.13 ERA for too much longer, and I would avoid spots where you're having to lay a good price with the Mariners when he's on the mound, just because I don't think there's any value. But when you're getting plus money in a spot like this going up against a team like the Blue Jays, I do think it makes sense to take Gilbert and the Mariners as the dog. Jose Barrios just has not been good at all this season. He's got a 5.82 ERA and a 7.39 expected ERA this year. He's not striking out batters. He's allowing too many home runs and base hits overall. And although his team has been able to back him up offensively for the most part this season, the last 2 games that Barrios pitched in, he was dreadful. He gave up 5 earned runs to the Yankees, 6 earned runs to the Blue Jays, a home run allowed in each of those starts. And the Blue Jays lost both of those games to the Guardians and the Yankees on the road. He's given up at least 1 home run in his last 3 starts. Against the Guardians, he didn't even strike out a single batter in 4 2/3 innings. He's just not in good form, and I got to take the Mariners here, getting a really good price with a much better starting pitcher. Next up, we see the Minnesota Twins taking on the Oakland Athletics. This will be our final game of the night in Oakland. Josh Winder and James Caprillion, your starters. Now, I don't really trust either of these starters going forward too much, but I do think Winder is the better option. I think the Twins have the better lineup and bullpen to go with it, so I do like Minnesota on the money line here. Winder's coming off probably his weakest start of the season against the Astros, but he's not facing the Astros here. He's facing the A's, a team that he dominated against back on May 6th in a 2-1 Twins win. 6 innings, 1 run. It was an unearned run. 8 strikeouts, no walks allowed for Winder there. Caprillion also pitched well against this Twins lineup also, but he has been inconsistent this season. His pitch count rises really, really quickly, and I don't want to see this Oakland Athletics bullpen too much. And I think the Twins win this game behind Winder, but certainly not a game I'm rushing to bet. And that's it. Those are the games for Tuesday, May 17th. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to put your picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.